Today I'm making a key lime cheesecake, but it's an icebox cheesecake. So if it's hot outside, you don't have to have the oven on the whole time, just a little bit to set that crust, and then it sets up in the fridge. It's brilliant. And that's what we're gonna start with today, because you need to let it sit in the fridge for at least 6 hours. So we're gonna start by blooming some gelatin. So here I have a little bit of heavy cream. This is 4 tablespoons of heavy cream. And this is a whole package of gelatin. Now, when I first made this recipe, I worried that all this gelatin would make the cheesecake have kind of a rubbery texture, which I don't like. It is so light and fluffy, the texture of this cheesecake, it kind of knocks your socks off. All right, so a whole packet of gelatin right into the cream. I'm gonna whisk it in there, make sure that gelatin gets nicely hydrated. And we're gonna set this aside about 5 minutes. And then before we add it to the cheesecake, of course, we'll melt that gelatin. All right, now on to the rest of the filling. Here I have my trusty stand mixer. Gonna add more heavy cream. This is 1.25 cups of heavy cream. To this, we're gonna add some sugar, 2/3 of a cup of sugar. The great thing about this is it's not a super sweet cheesecake. You really can taste the lime flavor, which is what I love. Gonna put this on the mixer, medium-high speed until you get soft peaks on the cream. All right, you can see that cream has got some structure. You can see the tines of the whisk and how they're leaving trails, which means it's the right time to add the cream cheese. Here I have 1 pound of cream cheese, and this is the full fat stuff. This is the real deal. You don't want to use low fat here because the cheesecake just won't set up in the refrigerator. It'll be really soupy. So here I have 1 pound of cream cheese, as I said. It's been sitting at room temperature. You can see how soft it is. And having the cream cheese be nice and soft like this is really key. Don't microwave it, just let it hang out at room temperature. This way it'll incorporate really easily into the whipped cream. All right, so with the mixer on, medium-low, I'm gonna start adding the cream cheese a piece at a time until it's nice and combined. Nice, all right. And again, you wanna mix it on medium-low just to get that cream cheese combined. Looks like it's mostly there. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, just a pinch of salt. All right, here comes the lime. This is 3 tablespoons of lime juice. Now, I mentioned at the top that this was a key lime cheesecake. Truth is, you can use key limes if you have them. Up here in Boston, they're a little hard to get and they're quite expensive. And I found that just using regular Persian limes delivers a delicious flavor. So I don't really worry that I'm not using key limes. And if you want to have truth in menus, then just call it a lime cheesecake. It brings the house down no matter what you use. All right, so I'm gonna put this on medium-low, add the 3 tablespoons of lime juice, and just let it all come together. All right, make sure all those clumps of cream cheese get down into the bowl so that it can get touched by the whisk. Now, I'm gonna turn it on to medium-high, crank it, and let it get really smooth. It takes a few minutes. While this is whipping, it's time to melt that gelatin on the stove. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna put this over medium-high. We're gonna add the melted gelatin mixture. I'm also gonna add some more lime flavor. This is 2 tablespoons of finely grated lime zest. We're gonna add it right in and we're gonna whip that mixture till it's nice and smooth and airy. That takes a few minutes. All right, that looks good and airy and smooth, and it smells like limes. This filling is ready to go on the crust, and this crust is terrific. It's made with animal crackers. So you grind up animal crackers to get 1 cup of crumbs, then you toss it with 3 tablespoons of sugar, teaspoon of lime zest, and 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Then you pack it in the bottom of this spring-form pan, and you bake it at 325 for just 13 minutes until it's golden and fragrant. Then you let it cool completely, and then it's ready for the cheesecake filling. And that's the only baking you have to do for this. You can do it well in advance. You can even do it in the morning if it's gonna be a hot day. This cheesecake is so good. Every time I make it, it reminds me of my father-in-law who loved key lime. Everything key lime cookies, key lime pie, of course. He would have loved this cake. All right, into the pan it goes. All right, now I think one of the nicest parts about a cheesecake is that sort of mirror smooth top. And it's hard to get that with an icebox cheesecake because how it goes in the fridge is how it's going to look when it comes out because the gelatin will set it up. So I have a little bit of a trick to get a smooth finish. One, you can wrap it on the counter like this, gets any big air bubbles out and smooths the top. The second trick is to get some hot water in a mug, which I have back here. Hot water. So I have some hot water in a mug. Have a little offset spatula. Gonna heat up the spatula in the hot water because that'll help melt the gelatin, and then you can just really smooth the top. Gets most of those wrinkles out. A few wrinkles are okay. If your cream cheese filling is a little on the stiff side because maybe it wasn't as soft, this is a great tip. That looks a lot better. Wrap it again on the counter. Into the fridge this goes at least 6 hours. Overnight is best, but it actually holds well for up to 3 days. Now normally you'd wrap something like this with plastic wrap, but I have never been able to wrap it with plastic wrap without the plastic sticking to the top and marring that surface. So I skipped that step. Into the fridge it goes. It is time for the grand finale, the key lime cheesecake. It is set up nicely in the fridge. You can see it's not moving or jiggling, which is perfect. Now to unmold this, it's easiest if you use a wet damp towel like this, something nice and big. And I used hot water, so this is warm. Just gonna drape it on the outside of the cheesecake, let it sit for just a minute. And if you think about it, this is thickened with gelatin. So as the heat and the warmth travels through the metal to that outer rim of cheesecake, it's just going to melt that gelatin ever so slightly, help it loosen from the edges of the pan. Much better than going around with a paring knife, which I've done. Paring knife makes dragging marks, whereas this is just a lot better. All right, I'm gonna rub down the outside. All right, no time like the present. Gonna unhinge the sides. Gentle. Ah, nothing but net. This cheesecake is so good. Now to get it off the bottom of the pan, it's not really stuck to the bottom at all, the crust. I'm just gonna take a nice, long, thin, flexible spatula, slide it right under, and then you can slide it right off the pan bottom, right onto a cake stand, and there you go. Nice, clean, easy. And that's why I love working with these icebox cheesecakes because it makes you look like a rock star and it's really not that hard. Now to garnish, you don't need to do this, but I think it looks good. I have some lime slices that I sliced wafer thin, and now what you want to do is you want to take a lime slice, dip it in sugar, and then you can just kind of arrange it on the top. Sometimes you can slice up through the middle of the lime slice to help it make that design. Also helps you determine all the slices. I like to get anywhere from 8 to 10 slices out of a cheesecake this size. And if you have company, just, it just looks really impressive. And it's just not that hard. Looks elegant, even though it's just an icebox cheesecake. Oh, that's a hearty slice, and I'm not apologizing for it. You can see that. Look at that. I love this cake. It is so easy to serve. You get perfect slices every time because that crust is super sturdy. Don't mind if I do. Every time I make it, I'm so surprised at the texture. It is not dense at all. It is airy, it tastes like cream cheese, and it tastes like limes, not too sweet. And that crust is one of my favorite, made with the animal crackers. See you next time. Thanks for watching. What'd you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you're excited to cook this week. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. You can get today's recipes and more for free at our website, americastestkitchen.com/JuliaAtHome.